Welcome back to the Whiskey Muslim Podcast, everyone. This is your co-host, Tyler Y'all, and today I'm with my constant co-host, Chris Kellum.
Hi.
And today on the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast, we're joined by Matthew Coleman, the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Wilmington Media and Marketing, the publisher of the Greater Wilmington Business Journal. Matthew leads the company's sales and marketing strategy across publications, digital platforms, sponsorships, and live events, helping connect local businesses, leaders, and ideas throughout the Wilmington region. He's also helping lead the development of Spark ILM, Wilmington's annual business growth forum, designed to bring the local business community together for practical education, meaningful conversations, and valuable new connections. Today, we're talking about Wilmington's business landscape, the importance of community-driven media, what makes local events successful, and where he sees the region heading next. Matthew, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you guys very much for having me. Now that I hear that read back, it sounds like a marketing person wrote that.
Right?
Well, I keep laughing because Tyler started this, like, trying this new thing. And I'm like, Tyler, I feel like we should just have it on the screen so you're, like, looking at the TV.
Oh, yeah, let's read it off of that.
But I'm like, yeah, no, it definitely sounds markety. But not in a bad way. Like, we know.
That's right.
But it also helps me because he was saying stuff, and I'm like, I had no idea what that was. And I would have never thought to bring it up either if you hadn't, like, mentioned it on the front end.
The reason why I started doing it is kind of threefold. One, to keep us on track of what we're talking about. So just to say it out loud. Number two, for the people listening, because what would happen previously is we would intro into the podcast, start talking about whiskey, and we wouldn't talk about the person and what they were doing like 5 or 6 minutes into it. Right. So we had retention like that would just sink off at 2 minutes.
Right.
So like, okay, what are we talking about today? And yes, we will talk about whiskey at some point during the podcast, but what's the gist of this thing coming up? So that's why we did it. I think you kind of do exactly that for your day job. That's pretty much, right?
That's our big task, is helping people put those kinds of things together for themselves. A lot of times business owners, that's the one thing they struggle with, is they know what they do it really well, but trying to communicate that is the biggest challenge for them.
Right. Makes sense.
So we're not really drinking this episode, which is why I'm eating candy. If anyone knows these little caramel squares, I would love you if you could just make these magically appear. But also, I hate the plastic that they're wrapped in. But
yeah, it takes like 5 minutes to get into it.
Caramel's my weakness too. That's
Want one?
Oh, I'll take one.
Yeah.
But there's an ice cream, I think it's called Talenti's. That's
yeah,
caramel.
that's right.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And there's like chunks and hunks of caramel down in
that
it.
one's good.
Yeah, that's
that
dangerous.
too.
It's so bad. I go to Boom Pilates like twice, every other week. And every once in a while, I'm like, they'll have the Heath bar ice cream. You put caramel in it. And if you you put the scoops just right, you get the caramel like drizzled. You can get the caramel and the Heath. And I'm like, oh. It's just me. I just love it.
Ice cream and wisdom today.
Mm-hmm. There you go. A little candy, I guess.
Candy and conversations.
So we had like your broad spectrum view of now that you're back with the business. I'm curious to anybody who ends up in like marketing and everything. How'd you get started?
Like all the way back?
Sure.
This is one of those things, you know how sometimes kids want to grow up and be like firefighters or policemen or astronauts or something like that. So I was in like marketing school or marketing classes in high school all the way back. I was in DECA and did the competitions and all those things, and went to school for marketing. And back then this was online school, like before online school. So University of Phoenix, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I was working construction at Wrightsville Beach during the day, then coming home at night and doing some online classes. And then my wife heard an open house ad for the local radio stations, the local Cumulus group. So it was Double Q and G&I, Coast 97.3. And she says, hey, isn't this what you're going to school for? You should go and check that out, because they were hiring for radio ad salespeople.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll go, I'll think about it. And she said, well, let me rephrase that. Why don't you go check out this thing? And I did. I went, and it was a great experience. They hired me there. I got into radio ad sales, which is where I learned not just marketing, but also sales.
Yeah.
And I was there for 8 years, which is, I don't know if you know anything about radio ad sales, but that makes you a dinosaur in that business. I think the average lifespan is like 6 months. Wow. And, I started out as a street level account executive, worked my way up through management, key account management. I was doing political advertising there for a little while. Oh, wow. That was back in the Obama campaign. Mm-hmm. So that was a lot of fun. But left that job in 2013, got signed on at a company called My Employees, which is over in Castlehane, as the marketing director. So got out of sales and into full marketing. And wound up doing that for the next 6 years. And that's where I met Adam Tart, who you guys had on before. Yes. Yeah. And between the time that Adam and I got reconnected, I went and was the sales and marketing director for Atlantic Computer Services. So still in the same kind of vibe. But one of the cool things about that was when I was at My Employees, it's a national brand, so all over the country. I missed the local aspect that the radio advertising sales had given me. And then Atlantic Computer Services put me back in touch with that. Left there and had a short stint at the Business Journal the first time around for about 9 months. That's where I met Rob Kaiser and the other folks at the Business Journal. But in the time that I was there, Adam and I got reconnected, and his company Cap3 was doing well in the finance and fractional space. And he told me, hey man, my finance clients have just as many questions about marketing. Why don't you come help me build this other column of the business? Went over to Cap3 and was there for 3 years as a fractional CMO, which was great, awesome.
This seems cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun because back in full-blown marketing and being able to think like high-level strategy for people, really exciting stuff. And again, a company that had broad reach. And really happy with where I was doing great work, loved the company. We had grown we'd grown the marketing department from 1 person to 15 people.
Oh, wow.
And but at the time, or about that time, Craig Snow from the Business Journal, he and I stayed in touch. We were having lunch one day, and the person who was in this role at the Business Journal then had left. And, he said, would you be interested in checking that out? And met with Rob, talked about things, compared visions, and we were really aligned in what we thought this thing could be. And made me a great offer, and it's been all roses ever since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I always like to ask that question because, there's never one way to get to someplace.
Yeah.
And like those younger people who listen to the podcast don't feel like, okay, I'm here now. I'll never get to this spot. You can see, you can take many paths to get to there.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Stephen Covey. So 7 Habits. And he said something in his book that I think really stuck with me because everybody wants to know, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? And I can tell you right now that 5 years ago, I would not be where I am today if you had asked me then. But he said that rather than having hard and fast goals, you live a principled life. And by doing that and living principled and kind of staying focused, you will be afforded opportunities and it'll give you a chance to take advantage of those. And to your point, I think that would be the advice I would give somebody is just think about a direction that you want to go, keep your antenna up, and the opportunities are going to come to you.
Mm-hmm. We were doing an exercise. We brought in a business coach for where we're at here, and they asked us what a 5-year thing was, and I was like, I don't do that anymore. Try telling a business coach that doesn't go well. And she was
1994.
But there's a reason.
She was like, what are you talking about? And I do the same thing because I've had other performance coaches very similar. They've taken things from Stephen Covey and whatnot too. And I'm like, these are basically the rules of my life that I believe and that I think is going to get me where I want to go. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I didn't expect to be sitting where I am right now in 5 years. Exactly. I didn't expect to be in this industry 10 years ago, and I didn't expect to be where I was 15 years ago, where I was then. I was like, I've stopped doing that. And the times that I have had really strict goals, believe me, I've become more driven and solid in my faith because God has come down and crushed those goals every single time and led me into a different direction anyway that put me in a better spot than I would have been if I chose my own way.
Absolutely.
I was like, so this is why I don't do it anymore. And she was like, okay, Tyler doesn't have to do that then.
You're excused.
Yeah.
Some people need that, what is going to be your goal?
Yeah.
And I do ask our young employees, do you have a goal? And I'm like, I don't need one for, 5-10 years down the road. I just want to know, what's your goal before the end of the year? What's your goal look like for this time next year? And if I know that, then I can help you reach those goals because you're so young. Like very few people are like, well, I can live my principles and I know I'll get to the next point. Like you could, but Tyler spent years learning who he was, and he wasn't, 23 coming up with this.
If
like,
I
don't
living
have
by my
goals.
principles when I was 19, I'd be in a really bad spot.
So I'm like, I like that idea. It's like, you got to know yourself and kind of grow into that. Cause I'm sure your goal was not to be where you are now. Cause it's not an idea that everyone has.
That's right. And, I think having goals is important. I'm in sales and, we live and die by goals.
Exactly.
But I think there's a certain amount of flexibility that comes along with that and being able to adapt to things. I think we all, it's the most cliche thing ever to say in business now, but coming out of the pandemic, everybody realized that you've got to stay flexible because everything could change in a moment.
Crazy.
Right? Yeah. So I think that just makes for it. Like I said before, it opens you up to more opportunities if you are aware and you're just kind of operating and always moving forward in a certain direction and making sure that what you're doing is aligning with who you are and being able to drive you that way.
Yeah. So talking about kind of where you're at now, something you said you wanted to talk about, and I'm glad you mentioned it because I have no clue what it is, but I see it everywhere. What in the heck is Spark ILM?
All right.
Because I know it's coming up soon.
Well, Tyler, thank you for asking. But so Spark ILM is our annual business conference.
Okay.
So Spark ILM got its start as the Wilmington Business Expo. So for several years, last year, the Wilmington Biz Expo rebranded as Spark ILM. And the reason for that is, when I was with the Business Journal the first time around, worked the expo then, and I'd always been an attendee. That was one of the things that made, coming here a really natural fit for me because I'm super engaged with all of the events and all of the material and content and everything. But the Biz Expo was really great, and that old format was the keynote lunch where we have the economic outlook. So Machine Gatabi from UNCW comes in and delivers the region. The president from Bank of America will come down from Charlotte and deliver kind of like a national and more broader scope. Oh. And then after lunch broke for the expo hall. And so vendor booths, usually anywhere between 80 and 100 different businesses would be over there. And that was great experience for a long time. So when we changed from the Wilmington Biz Expo to Spark ILM last year, one of the changes was we got more into the content. So we delivered more workshops and also had some more activations and looking for things to increase engagement in the expo hall besides just the vendor experience, which has its place, and especially in a networking environment. But at the same time, what you're looking for in events like that is sticking and staying power. So people can come and have something to do so that they're hanging out. It's not just a spin through the booths and then thanks for the afternoon. Yeah. Well, after we did that last year, we got such a great response from the workshop content that we said, this year we're going to double down on that. So there actually won't be an expo this year. Oh, wow. We won't have the expo hall. So the event will start out with the keynote lunch. So we're bringing that back again. So Machine will be there. We'll have the president from Bank of America will be back again. We'll start off with the lunch. Then from 2 to 5, we're going to have what we call Learning Pass. So there'll be 6 different tracks of different content throughout the day with 3 workshops per track. So we're going to have 18 workshops going on all afternoon. So after the lunch, you'll pick, the 3 and go through an hour at a time. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you a little bit about what some of those learning paths are in a minute. And then after the workshop time, we're going to go to the Best Places to Work celebration. So this year we launched Wilmington's Best Places to Work survey, and we worked with an outside research group who helped some businesses apply for that. They would run surveys to their companies, and based on the score, we wound up with 25 of the best places to work in Wilmington. And you can find that list on the Business Journal website. So what we're going to do is celebrate those businesses at the end of the event. There'll be food, there'll be drinks. We'll be back in the expo hall for that. And we'll be counting down from 25 to the number 1 best place to work in Wilmington. Oh, wow. So that's the whole day in the...
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like a full celebration of the area.
That's right. And one of the things I think that is cool about, somebody asked, why would you put all of those things together like that? And I think that really goes to the business environment in this area is there are so many cool, I mean, you guys probably see it more than anybody with the way that you do the show. There are so many cool things happening here, so many diverse businesses, so many opportunities. And what we're looking for is a way to connect all of those things, bring people together in an afternoon where you've got, you'll have finance and bankers who are big into the economic outlook. Real estate will be all into that. And then you get into some of the small businesses that are there for the content and the professional development that comes with the workshops. And then you've got major employers who are going to be there for the Best Places to Work celebration, bringing all of those people together to gain different perspectives and learn from each other. I think it's incredibly valuable.
That's neat. What made them want to kind of move away from the expo and then to the Best Places to Work in Wilmington? Because it seems like the expo part would be more like not necessarily like traditional networking, but more like a mingling type of thing. And then that being more of like job seekers, I guess you could say. Is that kind of what the positioning was? Is like, hey, we also want to bring employees into the mix, not just like the business owners? Or like, what was the idea behind that?
I think that it really had to do with, so the expo part was very focused on small business. So a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, smaller businesses, and then a couple of larger businesses, especially with like some of our major sponsors. But what you get with the Best Places to Work, so you have to have a minimum of 15 employees just to even qualify for that survey.
Okay.
So what we were able to do is by adding in that element, bring larger groups and bigger businesses together so that, again, you've got a lot of those people who are vendors or want to be vendors of those larger companies, getting the chance to mingle with some of their CEOs, some of their C-suite, some of their leadership teams in a very relaxed setting where you just don't get that kind of opportunity. Because those people, quite honestly, don't come to an expo and walk around the expo hall.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Okay.
That's why I say, again, I think one of the cool things about a day like this or an event like this is being able to bring all of that stuff together in a way that you just can't under most circumstances.
Right. That's neat.
Sorry, I just ate a Heath bar. Shh, don't tell my wife. I think it's interesting that you chose, like, you have to have at least 15 people. Was there like a reason why you picked that number?
Yeah. So a funny thing happens when you do employee surveys is if you don't have a certain number of people, it's kind of easy to tell who said what on your survey. So, and plus, from a sampling size, you want more people in the sample to get better results on the actual survey itself. Yeah. But there's a couple things that go into play with the, and we actually have one of our sessions, the people who put the survey together are going to do kind of an explanation of their methodology. Oh. So we have one of the tracks is building culture for your company. And they'll be kind of talking through, featuring some of the best places to work and also how they come about doing that. And do you guys know Andy Almaner with Leith HR?
Oh, yeah.
So they're one of our Best Places to Work sponsors. And when we were originally talking to him about partnering with us on this, he wanted to talk to that group first and make sure that what he was getting behind was legit. Right. And he was very impressed. And he said, companies will pay thousands of dollars to get the information that you guys are going to give them out of this survey. So that's when we knew that we had something really cool and that it was legit. And, the people who were recognized have been very excited about being recognized. So I think a chance to bring them together and celebrate is going to be a good time.
We couldn't have had our practice in there. There's 6 of us and 3 of us are partners. So
yeah. Well, like when you said that, I'm like, that makes sense. Like if you have a company, there's only 10 employees and you have the owner and his wife and 2 kids. You're like, well, there's only 6 people here. I can make a guess based off how you type this up. Who's who?
That's right.
But that's actually really cool. I think just celebrating more people in the area. When is the event, though?
October 1st.
Very nice. Can people still sign up to go to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got tickets on sale. The tickets are $125.
Okay.
But we have an early bird special right now. So before August 31st, tickets are $99. So sign up early, save $25. And then what we'll do is once we get closer to the event, we'll be sending out kind of like plan your day type of survey and email so we can find out who's coming to the lunch, help people pick which tracks that they want to go to from a content perspective, which workshops they want to attend, and then also, who'll be at the celebration at the end, planning purposes, but also to give people a chance to see everything like all in one place. Yeah. Because it is a lot, by design.
Yeah.
But also just so that people can, make sure that they get in there. It's not overwhelming the day of. So it'll be good. But yeah, tickets are for sale. Anybody's welcome to come. It's one of these things that I think, if we do this right, that it again makes for, a person who just wants to develop their own career can come. A small business owner can come. People who are in larger businesses can come, can bring their team. There'll be something there for everybody.
What workshop tracks are going to be available for everyone?
So we'll have 6 altogether, and there will be a workshop on marketing. There'll be a workshop on culture, of course. Mm-hmm. One on leadership, one on AI, one on what we're calling the Wilmington conversation, and then one on scaling businesses.
Okay.
So those are the different types of things there. Excuse me. And, we've got some great speakers that are coming in. We've got, Ben Kern's going to be on one of the panels from Vanica. Oh, yeah. Lisa Leith from Vanica will be on one. We'll have, if you guys know Morris from Predicate AI, is one of the CEA winners. Yeah. He'll be leading one of the AI panels. The AI one is, actually, I'll be speaking in one of those panels. It's cool. We've got a company that's sponsored that, Contextuar, a guy named Travis Sherban. And he'll be leading a kind of like what AI is, as far, because this is one of those things that everybody thinks that they need. Well, everybody knows that they need it, and nobody knows what it is.
Right.
Yep.
So he'll be doing kind of a base level thing, and then I'll be in there doing a session with Alec Lambeam from Ernie IT with some real examples of how businesses are actually using it right now. So they'll be featuring some of their clients who are Wilmington businesses and what they've actually done with it. I'll be showing how I use it as a sales manager for my team, as a sales and marketing manager, so that people can see that you don't have to, taking some of the mystery out of what it can actually do for you, and also thinking much smaller. Like people think this thing has to be massive and they've got to write code and all this stuff. I use it for data analytics more than anything else, and building out presentations, because it does the kind of stuff that you would have a normal, like a sales assistant do for you.
Right.
Oh.
But then we've got some folks who are going to be leading the marketing workshops, who are, talking about not how to run a social media campaign, but this is what we did for our business. And sharing some real experiences. That's one of the things that we found, especially last year, worked really well, was when we could translate this down out of there's some value in tactical conversations, but what people really want to see is like how this is actually played out for somebody, and how it really works.
Yeah, because I've noticed that too with a lot of workshops that I've gone to, where it's either extremely tactical or it's very theoretical, I guess you could say. And it's like, okay, I see what you're saying there, but I don't know how that's actually going to make an impact into what I'm doing day to day. So it is interesting to hear like, okay, this is what I did, and this is how like the outcomes that came out from it. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, there's another learning path that's going to be on there. We're calling Wilmington Conversations, which I think is pretty cool, because that will be, it wouldn't be so much a workshop, like a learning workshop, as it is about what's going on in Wilmington. So we've got the CEO of the endowment is going to be speaking there. That's, everybody wants to know what's going on with the endowment. Yeah. We'll have Becky Hawk and Chris Gudray. So we'll have the city planner and the county planner, or city manager and county manager in there, talking about, what the direction of the city is there in the area. That to me is one of those ones that I think is information that everybody wants and needs, and this is a chance to get right down in the room. And when you talk about being in the room with people, this is a chance to have the opportunity to shake hands, get eye to eye with some of these people that you only read about in the news. Right. Yeah. So that to me is the true value of events like this, is bringing all of those people together for those kinds of, like, I wouldn't call them chance encounters, but the potential to meet some folks that you just don't run into.
Right.
True. I think that's a great way, because there's, even me, like I see like bio photos and I'm like, okay, that's what that person looks like. But I've seen photos of people and I meet them in person. I'm like, first off, that photo is 25 years old. Secondly, it is great to actually know what you look like. Like, not because I'm going to stalk you, but like I can put a face with a name.
Yeah.
And it kind of humanizes like what's going on. Because I know a lot of the time, especially like the city manager and the county manager, like people are always mad about this, that, or the third. And like they're a real person. Like if you can humanize it, and you can be like, okay, like they're just making choices to try and make everything better.
Yeah.
I think that's
Well, plus too, you know, I think that that's a great example because most of our exposure to those people is some social media post where somebody's ranting about something that has either gone wrong or you know they just don't agree with.
Yeah.
And so they can kind of skew your view of, you know, policy and local politics. To get the chance to actually spend an hour with them, hearing them explain how they got to what they were or how they got to that decision, it really adds a lot of perspective.
Yeah, that's great. When Spark ILM finishes on that, I guess on October 2nd morning, when you wake up, what are the like either metrics, whether that's like physical metrics, how many people showed up or how it felt or whatever, what would you say was a success about it?
For us or for an attendee?
Let's do both.
Okay. For us will be a well-attended event where we can bring people together. I think one of the things that is pretty cool about what the Business Journal does as a whole with our different events and some other organizations in town too is we're kind of at this stage right now where I think people are a little worn out on the digital experience. Mm-hmm. And I said this the other day to somebody, and I think I'm going to make some T-shirts and some hats, but we're trying to bring back the handshake.
Oh, yeah.
And getting people in the room where they can have real conversations, meet face-to-face. I talk to so many business owners that'll go to one of our evening networking events, and then I'll see them at a power breakfast later, and they're like, "Oh, I ran into such and such, and now we're partnered up on this deal, or I ran into this person and made this great connection. They were able to introduce me to this person, and networking has really built my career. All that stuff that I described before has really come because I knew somebody who introduced me to somebody else all along the way. And I think that making those kind of connections is super valuable. So a well-attended event. And it would be nice that people enjoyed the content that we were able to bring them and found a lot of value in that. Because again, that's what we're trying to hammer home on this iteration of Spark ILM, is that bringing these great opportunities, these learning opportunities, professional development opportunities to the community, and knowing that that was well received. So that would be success for me.
Yes.
I think for an attendee would be the other side of that, having met somebody that put you in touch with a new opportunity or put you in touch with another person or maybe another perspective that ultimately leads to a positive business outcome. Mm-hmm. One of the things I think is a lot of fun about our job is the thing that really gets me excited about what I do is being a part of the business community and being able to have a positive effect on that, whether it's reporting on news that's happening or bringing people together. Right. So if, I run into somebody else after the event and they're like, "Oh man, I had the best time at Spark and I met this person and, now we're catching coffee, next week and following up after that." That's the thing that really gets me going. And being able to walk away from that event with a couple of practical items that you can implement really quickly in your business to make some kind of positive impact, I think is another big win.
Nice. That's awesome. Going back to the tracks for a quick second, just because I'm curious, do you have to stick with the tract or can you kind of like mix and match? Like, could I choose I want to go to this AI one, this Wilmington Conversations one, and this leadership one?
That's a great question. And the answer is no. So you can bounce around through them. Now, we'll have 6 rooms going at one time. So each one of the tracks will have a class going. So you'll have to pick the 2 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, and the 4 o'clock.
Right.
But you could say, I'm all in on the marketing. So leave me in engaging audiences. I want to see all 3 those speakers because they'll be different each time. Yeah. Or you can say, I really want to see, I really want to hear from the endowment, but I also want to hear from the people who did the surveys. And I also want to hear, the AI guy, or I also want to hear from one of these scaling, one of these people who took their business and scaled it and sold it. So yeah, you've got the opportunity to kind of, was it choose your own story, choose your own adventure, yeah. As long as you pick good time.
Okay, cool.
I was curious about that too. I was like, is it all the same? You stick with one, or you get to pick a bunch? I like that you can kind of pick
mix and match
as long as the time works. Yeah. I'm going to ask a really stupid non-business owner question. the power breakfast you mentioned. What is that?
So the Power Breakfast is Wilmington's premier breakfast networking opportunity. Once we do them 4 times a year, so once per quarter. And what it is we have a panel discussion. It's at the Wilmington Convention Center. We do it in the banquet hall there. And the one we just did recently was the hospitals, the hospital beds, the CON. So we had Ernie Bovio was back with UNC. We had for the local atrium, we had Lori Whalen in there from Novant, and then we had the chancellor from UNCW talking about the new medical school coming, and then we had Natalie English from the chamber talking about the medical talent pipeline. So that one was absolutely huge. There was like over 600 people in there, which is like wall to wall in that place.
Yeah.
It averages about 500 people, and we'll bring, like I said, a variety of different topics. The next one that's coming up in September will be the local elections. So we've got all the city council folks right now, people who are running for city council, and we'll have kind of a town hall style event. Also looking to bring some of the North Carolina state races, a couple of those candidates in as well. And then at the end of the year, we do a most interesting people of Wilmington in December. We'll do kind of the end of the year. Most intriguing people is what we call it.
Okay.
And then earlier in the year, we had Holly Sullivan from Amazon was on a panel with Frontier Scientific and also Fed Up Foods talking about, companies who are coming, why did they choose this area, those kinds of things. So the kinds of topics that people want to hear about, how business is getting done in Wilmington, some of the bigger things that are happening in Wilmington and in the area. And it's also just, again, it is a huge networking event. So that's 500 plus business professionals. Again, everything from, you've got the people from UNCW, you've got the heads of Truist and Bank of America in there, you've got the heads of the airport in there, and all the way down to the solopreneur who's there to make as many connections as they can. So it's a great experience. I've been going to the Power Breakfast long before I was ever
I've always been curious because we have we have a lot of people who've been on the podcast and like people I follow that will always go. And I'm like, what is this? And having you on who could explain it for like the stupid people like me, it's very helpful.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that you guys get to the next one.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'm sure.
I love the Power Breakfast. So I try to go as much as I can, especially for the local elections one. That's my favorite one to go to. So anytime that's coming up, I always go to that for sure. But yeah, I always have a great time at those. A lot of really good information every single time that I've gone.
Yeah, it's a great time.
You can really learn what's happening in the area from those, from the people that make the decisions, not just on Facebook.
It's funny because like the podcast is like Tyler is like part owner of a company and is growing and doing stuff. And then like I'm an employee in a larger company. So like we both have different viewpoints of things and not in a bad way. I'm just like, he goes to events that I'm like, I never would have thought of going to. So
I think it balances.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of perspective.
There's a lot of things that bring both of us together in different ways. So when I was thinking about starting a podcast, I'm like, who should I do this with? Because I knew I couldn't do it by myself. And I was like, Chris would be the perfect way to balance myself out here.
Chairs balance us out too.
Yeah, it's also true. I've caught myself kind of slouching this time, and you decided to sit up for once, and I was like, dang it, I can't do that.
Well, no, I was like, every chair is so different. Like when we were in phase 3,
Oh, yeah.
we had 2 different chairs, and they were rather old, but they had 2 different heights as well. So like I would sit in one, and I'm like, this is fine for me. And we swapped for one episode, and like Tyler was sitting there with his feet dangling.
Your knees are up to your chin.
And I'm like, oh, we're the same height for once. I did feel kind of bad, but
Yeah, it was one of 2 things. Either my feet were dangling, we were the same height, or my feet touched the ground, and he was like 6 feet taller than me. So.
this one is like I just have always slouched, and it's because I'm like I want to be on closer to eye level, especially when I'm sitting. And then people are like, you should sit up straight, and I'm like, then I have to sit like this, and I don't want to be this. Like,
These are nice, but they're deep.
I know.
yes, they're very deep, and then like they do lean back. So
Yeah.
then I
Easy to fall
start to
asleep.
like do the full slouch. And I'm just like, trying to be better today.
This is podcast ergonomics.
Exactly, yeah. So back to the journal. For people that want to be involved, what are some of the best ways they can get involved?
first and foremost, of course, attending. So sparkilm.com is the website that has all the information. I have a full list of speakers, where you can buy tickets, how you can plan your day, bios of everybody, what the topics are going to be. So coming, you can either buy a ticket as a personal, an individual, or you can buy tables at some of the events to bring like the whole team. We also have sponsorship opportunities. So there's a couple ways, you can sponsor a table at the lunch and get your business recognized. And again, ticket packages come along with that. We have a couple sponsorships at this time. We have a couple sponsorships left for some of our workshops. And then, so looking at either coming as an attendee or working with us as a partner and sponsor.
Nice. And how about for the journal broader than just Spark ILM? Is there other ways that people can be involved or kind of get to know what's going on around the area? Yeah,
so we do a daily newsletter. So Monday through Friday and a Saturday morning recap of the news of the week. Every morning, and signing up for the newsletter is free. Every morning, there is a different update that goes out. So Monday's like the things that are happening that week, and then there's a tech issue, and then there's a real estate issue, and then so the mornings have a theme to them, and then every day at Friday is like the hot news for the day. So whatever happened, it's like straight up news report. And we'll do our own stories. We might feature something out of the Triangle. We might pull something from some of the other local media partners. So getting in with signing up for the newsletter, and you can do that at WilmingtonBiz.com, is probably the way to get all the information and stay in touch with everything. I'd say pick up a copy of the journal, pick up a copy of the Biz Mag that comes out once a quarter. You can also, subscribe to that. Right now it's only $9.99 a month, and you'll get an issue of that mailed to you each month. And then the magazine comes out each quarter, and it also gives you unlimited access to everything that's on the website.
Subscribes.
That makes sense.
But aside from that, we have quarterly after hours. Wilmington Biz After Hours is a quarterly event. The last one we had was at Tempo downtown.
That's right, yeah.
We have another one coming up. Oof. The events team is going to kill me. But we have another one coming up soon. If you were signed up for the newsletter, you know all about it. Yep. But so we do those quarterly. The Power Breakfast is quarterly. Spark ILM happens once a year. We have our Biz 100 celebration that we do at the end of the year. It's like the top 100 movers and shakers in town, that kind of thing. And then getting involved as a marketing and advertiser. We have a variety of opportunities. Advertising traditionally with like ads in the newspaper, on the website. We've got our Insights column, which is like sponsored content. So writing an article and the Business Journal being a distributor for your content. People really enjoy that one. And then, sponsoring different events and getting in touch with people. Because our big thing is we're working hard to bring the business community together. And one of the reasons we do that is because it is good for the business community, but it also offers an opportunity for those businesses to get in touch with those people.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do, is make the connection between the audience and the advertiser, and ultimately creating community is our mission.
You kind of touched on it there, but what is one of the largest things that the Greater Wilmington Business Journal can do to help support the businesses around here?
I think, again, it comes back to creating community and bringing a place where people can share ideas, make connections, and everybody. I'm a rising tide lifts all boats kind of guy. Mm-hmm. So one of the cool things that I hear about people who move here is that they're always surprised at how friendly the business community is here in Wilmington. And I think anything that we can do to foster that is good. So that gives us more news to report on, and keeping the area updated and informed. More news to report on gives us more people to engage with and increases our audience, which gives our advertisers a better opportunity to reach out to those people. So all of this stuff works together in it's really like an audience or a community flywheel.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in the Wilmington area right now.
Oh, yeah.
What's one of the things, out of all the things that are going on, what's one or two things that the journal's really focusing on right now, or something that they're at least keeping their eye on that they're interested in?
Probably the number one thing right now is the hospital situation.
Yeah.
So with UNC Health and now Atrium coming into the area with an opportunity to provide more healthcare options for people, that has been probably the number one issue.
Yeah.
After that, it will always be real estate. Both residential
makes sense,
and commercial real estate are probably our next big ones. There is quite a bit of interest in the finance sector. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing a lot more seeing a lot more financial institutions, banking institutions coming into the area and setting up shops here. So Wilmington is on Charlotte's radar.
Yeah.
So all of those firms that have had headquarters up there for forever are now starting to put shops up in Wilmington. So those are probably some of the heaviest hitters. And then tech is really starting to bubble up.
Yeah.
So Wilmington's becoming one of those places where, we don't quite have like a research triangle hub yet, but it won't be long. And people are really excited about that. We do the Coastal Entrepreneur Awards once a year. And those types of businesses are always featured really high up in that. They're really prominent in that. And I think that tech is another one of those things that's coming in a big way.
There's a few different organizations now trying to build that tech atmosphere around here and getting people connected and getting the funding in, which I think would help a lot if Charlotte starts sending some more financial institutions this way for some more startup capital.
There's been a couple of pretty significant acquisitions out of Wilmington-based companies here recently, and that's really how you start to get notices once the VCs and everybody sees that there are some serious businesses being started down here, and kind of somebody's got to build an incubator. You know what I mean? And once that starts to happen, and you start seeing those things pop off a little bit more, then it just more attention will get paid and more money will start coming in.
Right. Yeah. So is that what the journal's going to do next? Create that incubator?
Oh, man. I don't know. To his credit, Rob Kaiser, our publisher, has always got his eye. We talked about Feast, a little bit. He's always got his eye on what that next thing is going to be. And who knows?
Right.
I like that. Which kind of leads into my question. What does success look like for you?
For me personally? Yeah. Going back to the, where we talked about things before, I live in Boiling Spring Lakes, right? Mm-hmm. And I drive into town every day, 30 minutes in, 30 minutes back. So I'm a podcast and Audible guy. I listen to Dale Carnegie, Stephen Covey, tons of different podcasts on a variety of different topics. And one of them is always leadership. And for me, success is taking my team. I get to lead what I think is the greatest sales team in Wilmington, and helping them achieve our goal together, but also achieve their goals individually. Because if I can motivate them to be the best that they can be, get the best performance out of them, then we're going to win as a team, and they're going to win as professionals. They're going to like their jobs. They're going to want to stay together, work together. We have a phenomenal culture at the Journal, and that's something that I'm very proud of. And so success for me is a team that is really harmonious and jiving together, working hard together, playing together, and succeeding together.
Nice.
That's awesome. So one of my final questions is, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
If I could tell my younger self one thing, what would it be? I think that the thing that I would tell my younger self is that conflict is okay. Oh. So early on in my management career, I found out that I was really more of a coach than a leader. So I was great at motivating people, and I was great at, but when it came time to bring the hammer down, that just was not who I was. Because I had, one of the things that made me great as a salesperson, but made me weak as a leader, was this desire for people to like me, right? And you can't, people aren't going to like you if you have to tell them that they're not doing well.
Yeah.
And I got some training. This is actually while I was at Cap 3, I got some leadership training that talked about, you come up on these situations where you're faced with some kind of conflict. And you have two different ways to deal with that. You can either push through it, or you can bump up against it and retreat. And what the guy said was, either way, the meeting it is going to be a difficult situation. You can either face that difficult situation and get to the other side of it, or you can meet that difficult situation, retreat from it, and then meet that difficult situation again, retreat from it, meet that difficult situation again, and retreat from it. And what they were talking about in that session was that conflict is actually a good thing. It's not something to shy away from. And if you can treat conflict as healthy and keep it constructive and productive, then it's actually the way that teams grow. It's actually the way that people grow. And hiding from it is not helping solve anything.
Yeah.
And that was something that, for the longest time, I could not deal with. And I would have loved to cross that bridge a little earlier in my career.
Yeah. That's fantastic. I never even thought of it that way. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah.
That's really good. Haven't had that one.
it was pretty transformative for me.
Yeah.
It's always fun when we get these answers to some of these questions, and we're like, never heard that one before. Let me write that down.
Right. Yeah. Keep that in the bank.
Yeah. I know you've. Go ahead.
I was going to say, luckily this is being recorded. So
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's the benefit to it. I can go.
You have mentioned it a few times, but where can people, keep up with what's going on with you and kind of the whole business journal and whatnot?
Well, for the business journal, probably our most active is Facebook and then LinkedIn, and we have Instagram as well. So following us on the socials. For me, I'm a big LinkedIn guy. So check me out on LinkedIn. I'm constantly updating stuff about the journal, always talking about events. I'll be talking about Spark ILM pretty exclusively for quite a while. But yeah, that would be the easiest way there. And then, like I said, if you visit WilmingtonBiz.com, that's the journal's website, and sign up for the newsletter there. Again, it's free to sign up. If you want to subscribe and start getting the journal delivered to you and have unlimited access to it, that's only $9.99 a month right now. And then, for the event itself, SparkILM.com is the website where you can find out more information. We only touched on just a couple of the learning paths that are going to be there, and a couple of things with the launch and a couple of things with the best places to work, but all the details will be there where you can check out all the information.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I just want to thank you for coming on.
Oh, man.
I know you're a busy man.
I really appreciate you having me on. Like I said, I've been listening for years and always enjoyed this show, so this is kind of an honor for me.
Thank you. Awesome. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for listening to the episode today. Hopefully you got a few things, if not more, out of it. And we just want to say thanks. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome.